Race as a variable is very important in looking at who shows up in criminal justice institutions. But I'm really interested in studying race not as just a variable, but as a force, as a social force that makes it a social product where we see racial disparities. So in looking across many institutions in society, I think criminal justice is one in which it's very clear that there are different paths that people take through these institutions as a result of their race. So the idea that race and crime are very much correlated in people's minds, I think we have to really sort all of these structures out, think about how people navigate institutions differently, and then from there, say what it means for justice and how we achieve justice and how we study justice. I did my dissertation research in public high schools in Chicago. I was interested in further exploring this question about adolescents' perceptions of injustice. So these are young people, 9th and 10th grade, and their assessments about their social mobility, how well they think they will do as an individual, but also assessing how well they think people like them will do as a part of their racial group or perhaps their gender group or class affiliation. So looking at social mobility and social perceptions, but also their criminal perceptions of criminal injustice. And so these young people also have a lot to say about how the criminal justice system works, how they assess the legitimacy of police officers, of the people they come in contact with who are authority figures. So this work was amazing, sort of detailing the nuance in their thought, their ideas about how much they come in contact with the criminal justice system, even if it's never setting foot in a courtroom, but going to school and you have a police officer who's assigned to your school. If you get in trouble, you're sent to the police room. They call it being interrogated if the police, or security guards ask them questions. So this is, a sort of way to navigate, system of social control with it having nothing to do with the criminal justice system. It's connected to the work here in New York in that I'm trying to look at those young people who go deeper into the more formalized system. So from, a certain neighborhood to perhaps a certain school, and then they show up in the juvenile justice system. And so this work more recently has been tracking the individuals who are 15 and under in New York City who show up in delinquency court and thinking about the various neighborhoods they're coming from, their school-based experience that may be bringing them to the court, but also how they're proceeding through the system and how other institutions fare in their navigation of it. So being referred to mental health facilities or perhaps not getting a strict disposition or punishment because they've been doing well in school. So there are ways in which these other institutions map onto the juvenile justice system that I think are critical for us to engage and explore. The New York City work was important because the methodology is unique in that I used mixed methods to explore the family court delinquency courtroom process. So I had a team of undergraduate and graduate students working with me going into the courtroom. We pretty much covered each day for almost a year. And going into the court, we had a standardized instrument that would take the legal proceedings down in terms of, what are we seeing? Is it an arraignment? Is it a fact-finding or a trial? And it would document the legal process, but also some of the social interactions that are important. So does the client, is he or she engaged in the process? Are they looking up? Who's there for the child? You can sort of document the community who shows up and what that means to the judge and how he or she makes a decision about this child. So we took, standardized kind of variables down about the social and legal process, but also ethnographically captured the interactions between the different actors in the room. And it led to a very rich exploration of not only the legal issues that were at play in the decisions that judges made about these young people, but also the social dynamics that have some influence on their legal outcomes. So we're getting the people who end up at the very end of what I'm sort of calling a carceral continuum, to build on the work of a few theorists who've used that term. But empirically, these are people at the end of the line, going far deep into this carceral continuum. And for their sort of, appearance in the court, we're looking at Black and brown youth who are coming in, of course, and anecdotally, practitioners know that, but they're not documenting the, racial demographics of the group. We can see the kind of differences across offenses, whether it's a school-based assault, those come up a lot. We might get a few robberies, but many, it might be theft or other misdemeanors that are showing up. So I have some sense of the different kinds of offenses young people are showing up with. Most intriguing has been the social factors that have played a role in the decision making. So if a judge says, wow, your parent has shown up for you, you've come to all of your appearances, but I'm not comfortable sending you back to the neighborhood where you live. So that says something about a social factor that perhaps may be entangled with the legal factor, but maybe not. So how do we sort of take this and put it into the full record of what's happening with not only legal outcomes, but also the legal process and how decisions are made?